Hi, I wanted to do a response video to Stacks of Books um, and her video on book buying and book sharing. It's a really interesting video, I'll link it below, that talks about whether book buying and the way that it's encouraged on YouTube is a good thing. Um, I I think there is a very important distinction to make, which is that there are book lovers and book collectors. These two groups aren't mutually exclusive. You know, you can be a book collector and a book lover, of course. Um, but I think that it's very important, especially for readers at a young age, to focus on being book lovers, people who read and enjoy reading and sharing the kind of stories that are in books, right? Those things that we actually go to the books for, that story that you get to be an integral part of and that you are the reader. Book collecting is interesting because it often goes hand in hand with book loving. But that collecting, that process of buying all sorts of books and investing your money into them, I think that's very difficult for you to do when you're young. Really, until you have a full-time job and you're completed your education, and frankly have a place of your own where you can really spread them out, have the space. It's hard. And what I would say to a lot of young viewers is that you should focus first on loving books, on finding stories that you love and really sharing them with the people around you, and to hold on buying them. And I have a couple of reasons for that. First off, the books that you love when you're 15 are not going to be the books that you love when you're 20 or 30. So it's really not necessarily the best investment. You're spending your money on something that's kind of temporary and that really reduces in value. If you try to sell books back, you're not going to get the same amount of money. So holding off until you have a set of books you really love, you have kind of that core set already selected, is kind of a good idea. Second, if you're in high school or wherever you are, you probably have pretty good access to a public library or to your school library, and they have a decent selection. And they're normally really, really great about getting the books that you select or that you would request from them, right? Like librarians love new books. Who doesn't, right? So in that sense, the books that you want are already accessible to you. You might have to wait a couple weeks, but frankly, if you have a big TBR on people do, right? Not be. Third, libraries in and of themselves come with a really great recommendation system. Your librarians are awesome. They read the books that are in the library. They are the people who get the advanced reader copies and select what their collection is going to look like. So they can tell you, hey, you like, Harry Potter, you like the Vampire Academy series. Here's what I think you should read. And you're going to get books because you have that interaction. You're going to get books that you wouldn't necessarily see on BookTube or on your Goodreads. And it's another great place to have someone there to tell you what books are available and what books are worth reading. And then I guess I would say also, collecting books is a really weighty kind of task. It involves buying books themselves, but also things like buying bookshelves and having the room to store them. And it's okay to hold off on those until you have a place of your own where you can do that comfortably and without the demands of other people. I would say love your books before you start collecting. It's better that way anyway. Do that comfortably and without the demands of other people. I would say love your books before you start collecting. It's better that way anyway. It's better that way anyway. I guess another point to be made is that I think a lot of times, especially when you're seeing people get new books, it's easy to lose sight of the fact that books are meant to be loved. They, they're meant to change with everybody who touches them. They're meant to accumulate meaning and interpretation and discussion. They're meant to kind of accumulate all of that and become something other than just what the author intended. They're meant to take on a life of their own, so to say. And so, don't worry about whether your books are super pretty or if they are, the beautiful hardback editions. Because at the very least, the way I see it, books are meant to, they're meant to change. And sometimes they get a little worse for wear, but that's part of the beauty in how they change.